The Basics of Hermetic Kabbalah as Applied to the Tarot, Lesson 3. In the last lesson, we looked at the macroprosopos, God, and microprosopos, man, aspects of the Tree of Life. We looked at the pillars of force and form. We traced the path of the lightning flash to get a clearer understanding of the Sephira. And we looked at 2 different schemes for connecting the Sephira. Now we are able to take a closer look at the paths before going into some correspondences that will give us a better idea of the essence of each center. All Kabbalists believe that the paths denote the changes in consciousness from one type of energy, Sephiro, to another, the connecting Sephiro. The intention of practice, however, is different for each practitioner. For the purposes of this course, we are establishing a connection between the Tree of Life and the Tarot, so we can ultimately get a feel for each card and see its significance in our own experience. This is an important concept to understand. The tree and the path speak, a private conversation to your own experience. Can you take the time to listen? When we consider the primal glyph and secondary glyphs, and we add the construction and destruction of form as well as the chain of emanation, we have a tree with paths that look like this. This must be one of the most powerful depictions of the Tree of Life. You may find that to be true for you too. Having a clearer picture of the essence in each Sephiro allows us to feel out the paths. From a Hermetic esoteric perspective, this is essential. Correspondences are values or qualities given by previous teachers to point us to our own insights. The following slides contain some of the correspondences that are useful in the study of the tarot, as well as coming to a clearer understanding of the beauty, simplicity, and insight contained in the symbol. Take time with each. What do they mean to you? The Briatic correspondence relates to another Kabbalist principle of the 4 worlds. Absolute, the world of emanation, the world of source. Briah, the world of creation. Yetzirah, the world of formation. Asaya, the world of making. The Briatic correspondence speaks to the nature of the Sephiro in the world of creation. The virtue and vice of the Sephiro give an indication of how the energies of the Sephira manifest both positively and negatively in the personality. In this diagram, the great work is seen as any effort towards the unification of parts of the whole. The illusion of a Sephiro is how the energies can cloud judgment. A way to make this clearer is to compare the illusions with the Briatic correspondences as per the diagram. How would it feel if the nature of the Sephiro, Briatic correspondence, was perverted by our Western societal conditioning? The outcome would be the illusion of that Sephiro. Klipot is a Kabbalistic term that can be described as the empty shell or form of the Sephiro without the force or life in it, the lifeless husk. The origin of the term dates back to medieval Kabbalah, in which, in order to account for evil in the world, Kabbalists believed that at first the light of emanation was too strong for the vessels and they shattered. The remnants of the shattered vessels then held the form aspect, and since they saw form as evil, they inferred whole demonologies on the Klipot. Nothing is of itself good or evil, it is as it is, and we infer a judgment on it, making it significant to us. The Klipot can simply be seen as an imbalance towards the negative aspects of a Sephiro. It is once again more clearly illustrated when comparing it to the Briatic correspondence of a Sephiro. If life energy, force light, was removed from the Briatic correspondence of the Sephiro, what would remain? The last two correspondences that we will cover here are the obligation and command of the Sephira. The obligation refers to a personal quality that is demanded of someone at this level of understanding. Generally it pertains to initiates in Kabbalistic practice, but I find it speaks to the nature of the Sephiro well. There is no obligation in the triad of Sephira at the top of the tree. The command relates to the four powers of the Sphinx, a concept introduced by Eliphas Levi and since developed by other Hermetic Kabbalists. According to Levi, the four powers are essential to develop for anyone who wishes to be effective in the world. There is another power subsequently added for good measure. The original four were to know, to dare, to will, and to keep silent. The one added for good measure is go. It pertains to movement and taking action. The commands are only applied to the bottom five Sephira. Commands are not applied to the Macroprosopis except in Malkut. Malkut is of both God and man, being the world. In this way, the commands become more meaningful here. The 22 consonant letters of the Hebrew language are considered sacred to many. To the Kabbalist, they are assigned to the paths perfectly fit for purpose. Of course, not all Kabbalists have agreed how they should be assigned. For our purposes, we will use the Golden Dawn assignment. Turn back to Isaac Luria's Tree of Return should this interest you. The letters will be covered in the major arcana. For now, just the awareness of them will do. Hermetic Kabbalists have assigned the tarot deck to the Tree of Life. As Kabbalah is dynamic and not rigid, these systems of assignment are not set in stone, and you are encouraged to really play with your own ideas. For this course, we will be looking at two different schemes of assigning the cards. The first, of course, is that of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. And then this one by Dr. Alan Bain in his Keys to the Kabbalah, which follows a reverse journey of the lightning flash and is especially useful if you choose to use the tarot as a self-discovery tool. Note that the Golden Dawn scheme has no major arcana cards on the Sephira, whereas this scheme does. This is not a scheme for divination. We will cover both schemes when going through the major arcana.